So before we begin the video, I just want to point out the reason I'm holding this in my hand is because my lapel mic broke and I've ordered another one and it hasn't come yet. But that aside, if you have been keeping an eye on the WhatCulture WWE channel for the last week or so, last few days, you will know that there was a pro wrestling training update. Me and New Adam, we went into the whys and the hows and the whens and the its. Not everybody saw that, so I'm going to go over a little bit of that before we get into the other stuff, and then we can move forward. But before we begin, I do want to thank everyone on social media or in comments who very nicely would always say, Simon, what's the deal with the pro wrestling training? Or Simon, when are you going to give us an update about the pro wrestling training? And then, of course, that guy came and he went, Simon, you dick, where's my update? Thanks for that. But anyway, here we are. And we're back. Now, the reason we went quiet is because this year I did have loads of goals in mind. And one of the things on that list was to do a bodybuilding competition. I wanted to get one done. I've always said I was going to do one, and this was the year. I thought, this is the year, Simon. You're going to do it all. Wrestling, bodybuilding. And I thought I could manage the two. Turns out I couldn't. It was too hard because at one point in bodybuilding, when you really get into the nitty-gritty, you enter something called controlled starvation. And that is just no fun. Never do it, would be my advice, never do it. However, I soon realized that I should probably take a break from the wrestling training because not only may I hurt myself, more importantly, I may hurt somebody else. So I took a few weeks off, focused on that. That's done now, that's out the way, so it's on to the other goal, which is always to become a pro wrestler. So, simply put, what's next? The answer to that is twofold. One, I am going to go back to Al Snow's Wrestling Academy. Of course, they've been good to me since day one, and also they're good training. So I want to keep getting information from there. But something I have learned as I've been on this journey, as they say, is that everybody says the best way to get good at professional wrestling is to make sure that you're getting knowledge or teachings from as many people as possible. So that's why this September, and I've all signed up, I paid my money, I got my confirmation email, I am going to take on Progress's beginner course too. Starts in September. I think they do 3 or 4 a year. This is their last one of 2017, I think. I don't know that for sure. But I thought it'd be a great way to not only throw myself back into the deep end, but also then I'll start to learn, I'll start to learn even more, and hopefully that will get me back to where I was even quicker. And then when we do get there, we can start smashing it in a ring. That's the plan anyway. Now, as I said when we started these videos off, whenever it was, my goal was always to have a match this year. That hasn't changed. It may not happen, but that's my goal. Whether or not I choose to share that information prior, I don't know. Because something else that I certainly picked up or was told a lot is that when you have your first match, you're probably going to suck, because that's when you have to take everything that you've learned and apply that to an audience. And that is basically when you actually start to learn to be a pro wrestler, because you may be able to do it in a training facility or in front of your peers, but if you can't do it in front of a group of strangers, you're never going to be able to be a pro wrestler, right? Because that's half the battle. Or maybe it's the whole battle, is to convince these people that don't know you from Larry, whoever that is, that what you're doing is a fight, or however you want to call it. So I may do one match and achieve my goal without telling anybody, and then take from there, get better and get build up. And a question I get asked all the time is, are you going to compete in WCPW? Now that would obviously be the dream. I'm probably a little too old to entice WWE, and I would imagine they like spring chickens and I'm not a spring chicken. But WCPW would be incredible. I mean, to me, that's my icing on the cake, as they say. But I've never had a conversation with anybody about that. Maybe I wouldn't be good enough. Maybe they'd look at me and go, Miller, you're going to drag this brand down into the ground. I don't want to do that. I don't want to disrespect or ruin anything. But I think that's a nice pipe dream to have for now. And obviously I've got the connections. So that's good. But I mean, maybe that is something we can aim for long term. But yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get back into it. I'm going to update you with these maybe weekly or monthly vlogs. We'll work out a schedule and we'll stick to that. There may not be as much videos or photos as there was last time, just because I think on occasion it got a bit intrusive. Like when I'm learning to train, that's not about me, that's about all students there, and it's about the teachers who are graciously passing on their information to that group of students. Now I'll make sure I get some just to keep it interesting, so you have a visual aid if nothing else, but it probably won't be as behind the scenes as it was before, just because I think maybe that's why we stopped, because maybe I felt intimidated, or not intimidated, but maybe I felt like I was disappointing anybody watching these if I didn't have those. Whereas this time, if we say, look, I'm just going to give you as much information I can from my mouth, then we know we're going to go. But I make sure I pepper it here and there. So that's the plan. Starting again in September, hopefully get back to Al Snow's before then. But I'll keep you updated. And the exciting thing is where we got to before I stopped is, I was starting to I wouldn't say confidence. I was starting to get more confident, but it was starting to make more sense. Like we were running the ropes, we were doing suplexes, we were doing body slams. I started to understand spots. There was one spot where you give somebody a tackle, then you hop over them, give them an arm drag, hip toss. It felt like, not that I knew how to put on a match, but I was starting to understand those little things that you need before you can put on a match. And the other great thing was, when I was asked to do my first match ages ago, which was like a 2-minute thing, I was terrified. So I can't do that, I can't put on a match. But this time, while my matches still weren't great, because I'm greener than green, and if you watched it, you'd be like, Miller, that's bad, that's really bad. I felt more comfortable with it. Like I still got loads to learn, still got loads to take on, but I started to realize, you can do this. You can do this. You are learning stuff. Like all the breadcrumbs are there that you can take, and maybe you can take this all the way and you can go out there, and get it done. There's loads to learn, and sometimes you're like 3 steps ahead of yourself, which is always a worry because you want to be in the moment as much as possible. So that's something I've got to get better at. But it was starting to come together. I still had loads of work to do, but I was starting to feel it. And I think that was important. So yeah, I imagine I have to build up my tolerance again. I get loads of people always asking me, what's your biggest piece of advice if I want to be a wrestler? And it is to just persevere for those first few weeks. It's going to hurt. And I imagine I'm going to hurt again. I have to, build that resistance back up. But when you get there, it is an incredibly rewarding and exciting feeling. So that's what I would say. We get back to bumping. We get back to flip bumping, which I am worried about. Because if you watched the series before, you know that I scalped my head open one day, which was... I looked at the picture the other day. That was bad. It was probably worse than I realized at the time. But I'm excited as well. I'm excited to see how much muscle memory I have from all that. Like, how much do I actually remember? And, what can I do with that? Can I, graciously return to the ring, or is there going to be a learning curve? But I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it goes. I'll let you know how I feel. I'll let you know what we're learning. I'm excited about it. And I really do think with the right attitude and perseverance and hard work that, yeah, come the end of the year, we can get a match under our belt. Something else I definitely want to introduce to this series is ask me questions. Either hit WhatCulture up on Twitter or get in touch with me, or ask the WhatCulture guys and I'm sure they'll throw it over to me. Any questions you've got about being a pro wrestler, what I think about being pro wrestler, how hard it is, how things I struggle with, whatever. Chuck them a message, chuck me a message, and we'll make sure we start answering them on these too. So I think it'll be quite a nice way to have a dialogue. This is it. This is the big push now. Bodybuilding's done now. I don't have anything pecking away at my head, feeling I have to balance. It's just pro wrestling. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. Keep it WhatCulture. If you want to, learn about it, like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. Share on social media, because social media is massive. And hopefully, you will come along with me for this journey. And then if I can, I will have a match. A damn right I will. Maybe the worst match ever. I have a damn match, and hopefully you'll be there too. And you can be like, this guy may be stinking out the joint right now, but I followed him on his journey, and it was wonderful. So yeah, thank you for the support. We're back. I think we may be trying to tie in a podcast this as well, but check in with New Adam about that. That's in his control. But yeah, we're back. Time to kick some ass.